All right, so the ETFs, the American ETFs, bought back 8,780 Bitcoin. By the way, excuse the whatever if this recording is a little bit off or whatever, you don't like the view, everything else, because I'm trying to get this damn office sorted, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. A little bit of pain in the ass because I haven't quite decided how I want it yet. So they came in, they put this solid marble table in, and I don't like where it is. Couldn't put the lights up. So anyway, this is why I never wanted to do this shit. I never wanted to be a media like on YouTube trying to make videos, whatever. I might just do this. Right now, I'm sitting at the corner of this solid marble table. One corner is digging into my chest right now, or into my belly right now, because I can't move around. This is where I have to sit in order to make this view. So a little bit pissed off, a little bit annoyed. But what's more annoying than anything is that BlackRock is coming for your Bitcoin, and they're not stopping. Right? I said this for a year and a half. Every video that BlackRock was coming for your Bitcoin, and now they're coming for it, and now you got people screwing around. And I'm a bit pissed off, so we're going to talk a little bit, and there's going to be a little bit of, ranting going on here. So I hope you're okay with that, right? Because the worst thing that's going to happen in this cycle is that, and I'm also going to tell you, I've decided something that I'm going to do, so I'm going to tell you that as well. And if you haven't subscribed to this, what the hell are you doing, right? You need to subscribe to the channel. Why? Not for you. You will get the videos. Now that you have watched this video, it will be pushed to you. That's fine. It's not for you. I need you to help me send a message to the YouTube algorithm that Bitcoin content is important. And the faster and the harder you subscribe, the faster and harder it pushes it to new people. That's what we need. We need to get as many people to one Bitcoin as possible right now. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Anyway, the thing that's pissing me off is, what did we expect was going to happen? Of course they were going to buy back this Bitcoin. They've been dumping for 6 weeks. Last year, 500,000 Bitcoin was moved from the hands of retail to institutional hands, right? This is what I called, like a year ago, the rotation of ownership that's going to happen in Bitcoin. And it's happening now, right? It's happening right under your noses. So when I still see people going around saying, oh, the institutions are coming, they're here. Not only are they here, they're buying up the Bitcoin from underneath you and underneath me and underneath everyone else that needs to get to one Bitcoin. And they're securing that power. They're securing that energy. They understand how powerful it is to own this Bitcoin, and they're doing it. They're doing the work. And the one way they're doing the work is to make Bitcoin boring for you. And this is why I don't really believe in the idea of these cycles anymore. We will continue to see what happens and what happens with the price action, but I do not believe that you're going to see this amazing blow off top and then followed by an 80 to 90% dip for 3 years. That incentive-wise, brain-wise, if I ran BlackRock or I ran a fund or whatever, it doesn't make any sense. It's not marketable to do that, right? It's not marketable for me to say to my investors, hey, I wanted you to put $50 billion into Bitcoin. Oh, by the way, it's now worth $15 billion and it's going to stay there for 3 years. It doesn't make sense to do that, especially when you have the ability to buoy up the market on the downside. They can't control the upside because at the end of the day, it's all based on where this demand is coming from. And upside movements are good, but they can buoy the downside, which is exactly what I think they'll do. So I think you're going to see periods of this. I think you're going to see periods of Bitcoin basically becoming boring. And what will happen is it will trend and it will go up. And then for 6 weeks, it will consolidate, come down a little bit, bore the living shit out of as many people as possible, get more retail to funnel that Bitcoin into institutional hands, and then it will shoot up again, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I think the cycle is going to turn into. And I call it a perpetual cycle, which basically was code word for a normal market a year ago, right? And that's exactly what's happening here. I do not think BlackRock's incentivized to drive the price up 4 or 5x and then watch it come down 80% and sit there for 3 years. Remember, just think logically in terms of incentives. They make fees based on the value of the fund. And if the fund goes up 4x, they make that fee for that month, and then the fund crashes by 80%. Now they're making that 80%, the fee on that 80% downdraft for 3 years. It doesn't make sense. Like anyone who's still thinking about that, like I would like to see that happen. If that happens, I think it will be miraculous. Let's put it like that. I will be completely wrong if we see a traditional 4-year cycle. And by the way, when people say, oh, there's a 4-year cycle, now everyone's changing their definitions of listen, morons, a 4-year cycle, the way you guys told me when I got into Bitcoin was every 4 years it runs up, does a 3 to 5x, and then it crashes 80 to 90%. That to me is the definition of a 4-year cycle, and that ain't happening, right? If we get a 100, 200% run up and then a 40% dip, it's still a significant dip, but it's definitely not the way that the 4-year cycle has been presented to everyone, right? So that's what I think this is changing. And of course, look, they just bought back 8,780 Bitcoin, $700 million back in the market in a week, because this is it. This is how you get Bitcoin from the hands of retail. You bore the living shit out of retail. All these dopamine hopped up people on their iPhones and on their Instagrams and on their Facebooks and on their YouTubes and everything else. You bore them to death. Why? Because their little brains are used to being their dopamine firing all the damn time. So now I just keep the price stable, right? I just keep the price stable. I don't even need it to go down. I just keep it going sideways. Bitcoin Twitter is losing its damn mind because Bitcoin has come down from 108,000 to 85,000 and stayed there. Just think about what's happening, right? Think about what's happening. It's come down to $85,000 per coin, and Bitcoin Twitter is losing its mind. This is how you get Bitcoin and shares and anything you want out of the hands of retail. And of course, you let the doom and gloom boomers do your marketing for you, right? How many people are saying, oh, this is the top, this is that, after the prices come down to $85,000, right? Completely and utterly moronic what people have turned into during this 6-week sideways market at $85,000 per coin. And of course, all of this is linked to macro, right? So none of this is really Bitcoin related because the whole market's suffering it. That's, remember, I told you guys, if it's happening to every part of the market, it is not Bitcoin related. And this, to me, is every part of the market. They're getting retail out of the market and securing the bags. And of course, there it is. We were waiting for it. Last week, $700 million back into the market in the space of 1 week. And this rotation of ownership continues. And these guys will never sell. They already got the houses. They already got the yachts. The kids are already in school. They don't need to sell a little bit of Bitcoin to live life. And that's the problem. So the next thing that I want to talk about, I put this tweet out, and I think everyone should go and read it. And it's about these OG Bitcoiners, right? And I love and respect OG Bitcoiners. There are some amazing OG Bitcoiners that I've had the pleasure to meet. But now what I've come across and what I've started coming across is these OG Bitcoiners that got into Bitcoin fabulously increased their net worth. And again, props to doing that and sticking with it. And it's amazing. But now these morons have started to become investment experts, right? So now I heard a friend of mine who's been holding Bitcoin since 2015, a quote-unquote OG Bitcoiner told him that what you should do is have 87% in Bitcoin, 13% in cash, and rebalance that, and you'll end up with more Bitcoin. Well, it took me exactly like 2.5 minutes on Grok or ChatGPT or whatever I use Grok, right, to basically disprove that, completely and utterly dismantle it. Right? These OG Bitcoiners that are trying to come out with portfolio theories and how you should manage your wealth and this other shit, it makes me wonder, like, maybe you just actually got lucky. And I hate saying that. As a capitalist, it burns me to my soul when people tell me I got lucky. But I completely understand it because you sound dumb. You sound dumb. You're telling someone who's managed to hold on to Bitcoin since 2015 that maybe they should go into a slight cash position and rebalance once a year. And it took me 2.5 minutes to dismantle that argument. And it showed basically that they end up with 10% less Bitcoin. And of course, as we know, the goal is more Bitcoin. The only balance in your portfolio as far as cash goes should be based on how much the volatility affects you and whether you can sleep at night or not. If you need to sleep at night more, go more cash in your portfolio. But basically, a simple portfolio of 1% Bitcoin and 99% cash has beaten the S&P 500. So these people are now coming out. So this is going to be an all-out attack on your Bitcoin. And it's going to come from every direction. It's going to come from BlackRock. It's going to come from the market itself. It's going to come from OG Bitcoiners. It's going to come from shitcoiners. It's going to come from everyone. And your only objective is to not get bored. And the question is, are you going to be able to do that or not? Or are you going to be one of those morons that gets bored, believes this bullshit, and then ends up selling down their Bitcoin position and not holding on for the long term? Because that's the objective. They're going to utilize every single avenue of attack they have to separate you and your Bitcoin. Simple as that. Now, I'm not saying that you should not spend your Bitcoin. I'm against selling Bitcoin. I'm not against spending Bitcoin to make your life better. But this is why one of the things that I want to have a conversation about is income. And on Wednesday, I'm gonna put out a video talking about how I produce income, because these markets are now here. When I started making videos, they weren't here. Now these markets are here. So I'm going to talk about portfolios. I want to talk a little bit about how you should think about income, because the reality of it is not everyone is an entrepreneur. Not everyone is, managing to generate lots of free income. A lot of you people that are watching this video have probably got into real estate at the right time, bought your own home, you've saved up a bunch of money, and now you've figured out that Bitcoin is a thing and you've allocated to Bitcoin, but that doesn't take away the need for the income. And the income allows you, and again, I was talking to another friend of mine, and he said, look, this feels like a marathon that I've been running, and I'm now at like the 20th mile, and I'm fucking tired, and I just have to keep running for the rest of it. I said, that's complete horseshit, because the market is providing opportunities for you to not do that, right? You can take 10% of your portfolio, put it into an income vehicle, and basically allocate and just accept that you're going to get less CAGR on that 10%. Still going to be significantly higher than the S&P 500, and you're going to make your income, right? So you don't need to struggle. You don't need to actually sell down your Bitcoin position in order to survive. You don't need to do these things. So I want to talk about that on Wednesday. So I need you to subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss that. But look, the money is here. The institutional money is here. It's no longer, look at the amazing shareholder meeting. I put the picture out in Japan going on right now with Metaplanet, right? The Japanese are fully in on chasing Metaplanet, which is a Bitcoin treasury company. Why? Because the entire world needs growth and volatility, and Bitcoin related layer twos like Strategy or Metaplanet are giving that to people. So the shareholder meeting is completely full, utterly chock-a-block full, and congrats to everyone that's been involved in Metaplanet. And David Bailey was the first person to tell me about it. So thanks to him, I'm a shareholder in that a little bit. So look, at the end of the day, the money is here, the money is coming in, and the way they're going to get you is they're going to bore the shit out of you. And then they're going to put people that you think are smart in front of you to tell you, hey, maybe you should sell down your position. Hey, maybe because I'm uneducated and I'm just a Bitcoiner, I wasn't rich before Bitcoin, I don't know how to access these institutional strategies, I don't know anything about finance, maybe what you should do is just sell down your Bitcoin a little bit on a monthly basis. That is completely and utterly, I want to make this clear. If anyone is telling you to sell down your Bitcoin position to survive, they are uneducated when it comes to traditional finance. Because that market is here now, and it's been here for like 6 months, let's say. And so that's what I want to talk about, because there's a lot of people that need income. There's nothing wrong with income. There's nothing wrong with having income strategies to allow you to hodl longer. For example, what I'm going to discuss on Wednesday, been testing it for a few months, and it works out great, right? It gives me about 30-40% of the overall return. Basically, it matches if I was just holding Bitcoin, and gives me income at 5% a month, and I'm paying a 30% withholding tax, right? As a non-US person, right? So this is like net of taxes I'm talking about. So I want to discuss this. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to talk about this. Income is very, very important. Watch out for these people. Watch out for BlackRock. Don't get bored in the fucking market. If you find yourself getting bored, find a hobby. Stop talking about Bitcoin. Stop looking at Bitcoin. Find a damn hobby. Come back to it once a week. Check in on everything. See how everything's going. But find a damn hobby, because the way they're going to get you, the way they're going to make you suffer is by making it go sideways for a long period of time until you capitulate, and then it's going to shoot up, because the upside is not the problem here, but they will absolutely protect that downside. They have no problem with upside, but they will protect that downside. And one of the ways of protecting that downside is to take cash off the table, let you panic, let you sell, and then flood that cash straight back in the market, which is exactly what we saw last week with the ETFs buying back 8,780 Bitcoin. This is the game now. The market has changed. In my opinion, the cycles have changed. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the future as well. And now there are ways for you to make your HODL journey a lot more easier. And I want to start that conversation on Wednesday. Subscribe to the channel. And ultimately, there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.